You're watching It's Life Live with your hosts, Juan Lee and Oliver Marcel. Come join us for enriching, enlightening, encouraging, and thought-provoking conversation. Let's go. What's happening?
Hey, what's up, Oliver? Hey, welcome.
Yes,
Everything is
indeed.
cool?
Everything is cool, man. Everything is cool.
Well, all
Life
right.
is life, but everything is cool.
Hey,
How
it's Life
about that?
Live. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Hey,
Good.
just want to welcome all of the new people, and for those that are coming back and joining us again. This is Clear Journeys, It's Life Live, where we, Oliver, my co-host, myself, we come here every Wednesday night to talk about life and how we can help you navigate life more successfully. Clear Journey is a nonprofit that supports you on this journey called life. We help you navigate it through life's challenges with information, education, and resources so that you can be successful in life and to reach your full potential. So that is who we are, and we are thankful that you are here with us this evening. We have a guest that we're going to have. I'm going to introduce a little bit later on, but we're just going to let you know if you want to learn more about Clear Journey to go over to clearjourney.org, where we will help you and giving you ideas as it relates to what we do. And we deal with 8 areas of life over there. We have some tips over there for you. In addition, we have a resource guides over there for you to be able to learn things that might be able to assist you in this journey. We are offering a free book, which has been all this year, and it's about how to budget your life, budgeting made easy. So that's a free gift we want to give you to go over there and become a member, be a part of our community. We look forward to sharing and helping you navigate life more successfully. I'm an author of a book called Love Made Simple, The Guide to Inner Peace, Contentment, and Success. And that's basically what the foundation of Clear Journey is all about, because it talks about the mindset, being able to have a mindset of love so that you might have the right mindset to navigate life more successfully. So that's what we hear about. And tonight we're going to be talking about the area of self-improvement. So that will fall under various areas where we talk about as it relates to the areas of the attitudes. And the attitudes for that would be humility, discipline, tenacity, courage, and caring, so that we might be able to be all that we can be. Um, if there is anybody who's new here tonight, we'd like you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and in addition to give us some thumbs up, comments on all of the platforms. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on LinkedIn, and feel free to comment on any of those platforms and engage us. We are here to help you in areas that we're talking about tonight. So, Oliver, um, anything else? Anything else?
No, I think that's good. If you're watching now or watching the replay, we would love to hear from you. Like Juan said,
Mhm.
I had the relationship one that we did not too long ago. Was that last week or the week before? I can't remember. The world is just one long day to me. So whenever the relationship one was that we did, I had somebody text me.
Yeah, it was last week, I think.
Yeah,
I
I had
think it was,
somebody
yeah.
text me. It was like, man, I enjoyed that conversation. I was like, man, say something.
Yeah. Every Wednesday. Every Wednesday, we hopefully going to bring you a little something different so that we can help you navigate. So yeah, everybody get involved. I know Oliver has the communicate. He has the chat. What are you on? You on LinkedIn? You
I'm on
on?
LinkedIn. Yeah, so it's on my LinkedIn as well.
Okay. So
Last week though, I had it, and I think the reason why it happened last week was last week I had it on my Facebook and I don't today. And this person caught it there. So maybe I need to do that every week. Put it on
well, I mean, hopefully,
Facebook
the
every
thing
week.
about it is, I can't manage both of these things. I can't do it all at one time, So until I get somebody that, going to take all of my different platforms, but I want you all to know if you're on there, please leave a comment. Say something. I will get back to those comments and we will reach out to you. If you didn't, if you, I invited a lot of people on LinkedIn. I mean, on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
And if by any chance you weren't able to make it live, we're going to send you a copy of it because we want you to have a copy of this that you registered for. You accepted the invitation, but for whatever reason, not able to make it. Um, we want to make sure that you have a copy. Um, but other than that, let's get started. I mean, we have a guest who is a therapist. We're talking about her heartfelt conversation navigating life transitions, and her name is Anne-Marie John Jansen. Come on now, Anne Marie
James.
James. I know it started with a J. I know I'm looking at you right there. But let me tell you a little bit. She joins us with she's a soulful journey as she sits down with us and discusses her servant heart. She's an author, she's a speaker, mentor, she's a coach, a minister, a therapist, and more. She's insights on grace, forgiveness, justice, equality, and just purposeful living. Her passions is guiding individuals through life transitions, mental health, couple connections, um, emotional health. Um, she's basically wanting to help people navigate life. One of the things that we want to do. She's originally from Trinidad, Tobago, and now she lives in Maryland. And we want to introduce again Anne Marie James. Anne Marie James
Anne Marie James Henry. Is that
Henry.
right?
Yeah, she had. Yeah,
Anne Marie James
James
Henry.
Henry. Come on up. I'm sorry, Anne Marie. I'm sorry, but there's all of it, all of it. So that's your married name,
All of
right?
it. Oh yes, it's
The
my
Henry,
married name.
the Henry, just the Henry Potter, is the James too.
Just the Henry part is my
Okay,
married name. Yes, it's a
okay,
lot
all
of
right.
names. People always ask questions. So it's Anne Marie James Henry.
Well, I apologize. I
That's
apologize.
okay.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
And
All right.
we gotta get the most important stuff out of the way first.
Wow.
Okay.
I know.
The most important stuff out of the way first.
Yeah,
You're
I
from
hear you.
Trinidad.
Yes, Trinidad and Tobago.
That's we just had to get the most important stuff
Oh
out of the way
yeah, that's
first.
where I'm from. That's where I'm
Trinidad.
Okay,
How
go
from.
now? Now
go ahead and tell it a connection, Oliver.
that's excellent. That's excellent. Trinidad is holds a very special place
Uh-huh.
in my heart because
Okay.
that's where my father is from.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So
Oh.
I
Oh,
have
and I see your surname, which is really common in Tobago also, the
yes, it is.
Marcel.
There are
Yeah,
a million of them
yeah. And
everywhere.
yeah, I guess we'll talk after, but we may
Hmm.
be related in some way.
Hey, listen, I love it. We already related. Just the Trinidad alone. That's it.
Yeah,
Instant family. So that's why I want to get the
that's
real
right.
important stuff
Oh yeah.
on the
So
table first. So
so
yeah,
so one have to
welcome.
just sit and take that in.
Yeah, we'll find some time that y'all will do your family reunion. Y'all do the, the family reunion
Yeah.
thing. Hey,
Indeed,
well,
indeed.
Anne Marie, let's you give the opportunity. I just gave you
Yeah.
your little bio, but you tell us what you want us to know about you, and then we're going to get into what it is that
Mhm.
what you do can help our community navigate life more successfully. But tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Certainly. Well, what I want to say is that there's so much that you said when you introduced me, and what was said is exactly who I am. I believe in living life purposefully. I believe in having a rhythm in your life that allows you to feel like you can wake up in the morning. I believe in that. And I believe that so many people do not have the tools that they need to successfully achieve that in their individual lives. And it's so important for us who have the experience and who have the expertise to be able to use that in a way that is holistically to help others. And that is why when you introduced me, you mentioned the part about servant's heart, because from since a little child, I knew that I always wanted to help people. In fact, a teenager, 14 years old, I can remember that I specifically wanted to either work in the area of either teaching or in counseling psychology. And through many tributaries in life, I'm actually here at this place. So the journey have been long. I've been counseling for over 20 years in pastoral ministry and as a community counselor, working in the schools, navigating, um, helping, assisting young people to get through difficult situations. So I've been in this field for more than 20 years, and migrating to the United States in 2015 allowed me the opportunity to return to school and achieve a next master's degree. And here I am now as a licensed graduate marriage and family therapist. Just completed my clinical hours and soon to be a licensed clinician as a marriage and family therapist here in the state of Maryland. So that is, in a nutshell, is what it looks like.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
Thank
congratulations.
congratulations on that.
you.
Indeed.
That is so powerful. The thing about it is that it also your practice is going to use. You're planning to open your practice starting next month, I guess, another month after next in July. Is that correct?
Yes. In
That
July, I'll be launching my private practice called New Seasons Therapy and Wellness. And exactly what you shared about who I am, I'll be transferring that into that practice. Yeah.
also, I see you've also written a book. You want to tell
Mhm.
us a little bit about your book? I think it's
Cer-
When Love Calls
Certainly.
You Home.
Oh, yeah. This is what it looks like. You see the red?
Okay.
When Love Calls You Home. Yeah. It's available on Amazon. But the interesting thing about my book is that it came out of an experience and the reason for me migrating here to the United States. In 2013, I was in a routine checkup with the doctors back in Tobago. They discovered that I had a right renal artery aneurysm. So let me put it simply, that is an aneurysm that is over the three arteries that heads into the kidney on the right side. So that was something that baffled the doctors. They didn't know what to do, and eventually, my cousin who lives in the state here in New York said, "Come, get a second opinion." And so I traveled. And when I got here, they said, "Well, you have to come back every 6 months to monitor because we cannot do surgery." And the reason why they cannot do surgery, couldn't, well, up to this date, I have not had surgery. It's because it's a risky surgery. It could leave you paralyzed. You will either lose the kidney. And that propelled me into a season where change began. I changed my lifestyle. I was doing a lot in all the areas that some of them you mentioned when you introduced me. I was doing a lot. So I changed my lifestyle. A lot changed for me. But one of the most pivotal parts of that journey for me was that I knew it was time to leave Tobago. Now, in my mind and my heart, I always wanted to leave Tobago. I love traveling. I knew that I would not be there forever. But then when I heard that, I didn't know what I was doing. So I took a leap of faith. I didn't know how to navigate. And I journeyed in 2015 to the United States. And my idea was, okay, I'm going to come, I'm going to study for a while, and then I'm going to return to Tobago. That's it. But then, into about a week into coming here, I met my husband, who in the military. So, hence the name of the book, When Love Calls You Home, because that journey meant that I met him, we were married. I moved to Maryland in a short space of time, but I knew my husband before I came here. I didn't see him for over, let's say, 30 years or more because we met in high school. He
Hmm.
remembered me. I did not remember him. But he saw me on Facebook after a week after I got here and reached out to me, and that was it. So then I moved to Maryland. So when love calls you home, it's all about the journey, where what God has for you, what God designed for you, what God wants to introduce into your life. He has a way of allowing you to navigate different pathways, but he takes you there once you are in alignment. And I can tell you that doors opened as a result of that. So when love calls you home, actually it tells how I navigated that journey from the discovery of the aneurysm to meeting my husband to the other doors that open, what it meant for me trying to understand life and the changes and creating the right connections to take care of myself. It talks about self-care. It talks about introducing value to my life in a season when I felt that I was preparing to die. So, all of
Mm.
that in a nutshell is part of what Love Calls You Home is all about. And that's the life I live now, with that understanding that nothing happens by chance. And all of us here have a purpose and we have to live life purposefully.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. It's,
that's that's a powerful thing. Over how long of a period of time are you doing well now?
oh yeah, I'm doing well. I mean, I have to return to the doctor every year for
Hmm.
just routine checkup, but I never had surgery. I'm doing better. When I got here, I'm doing better. And it's just that's the way it is.
Okay.
So
Well, all right.
I live life in the present. I've learned to
Okay.
live life in the present and embrace this journey.
Well, that sounds familiar. That sounds like something that
That's
think
awesome.
I'm working on myself, and it's. But that's I can appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Um, you talked about having grace, values and grace, forgiveness, justice, equality. How do you integrate those principles and things into your therapeutic practice? Then how do you integrate all of those aspects into it?
Yeah. You know, I'm not just a mental health therapist because I see a wide range of clients. There are people who who are faith based, some are not, and what I realize is that there is a commonality in everyone. People are trying to find themselves and understand why they're here.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
And when you introduce the whole concept of being able to understand yourself and embrace who you are and understand that you don't start off with 100%, and every single day you add to what you have, that helps clients that I work with to realize that I can practice self compassion. I don't need to have it all together. There are people who are equipped to help me, but I just need to find the right connections. And those are the ways that I introduce grace, self compassion, the whole concept of treating people as though they are important. It doesn't matter where we come from, it doesn't matter what the discrimination may be. That is not supposed to be part of our day-to-day language and the way we present ourselves. And when we model that for others, then they can find hope. They find hope and reassurance that life could look different in spite of what they're going through.
That is awesome. That sounds a lot familiar when you say Oliver.
It does. I'm gonna jump in a little while, but I
Mhm,
just love the story that you started out with, just because
mhm,
it's for those that are watching or watching the replay, it's
mhm,
inspirational in the fact that um, your life, this
mhm.
is it's life live, right? Your
Yeah.
life is orchestrated.
Mhm,
Um, I'll put it in a spiritual term that the church folk will understand. It your steps are ordered, right?
that's right.
And we don't always see. Man, I'm saying this. I'm living this right now. We don't always
Wow.
see what the steps are,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes some of the steps some of the steps feel very the steps feel like they don't belong
Mm-hmm.
in the overall trajectory of your life,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you get diagnosed with this thing that could be life altering,
Mm-hmm.
that could completely throw things off for you, but that
Mm-hmm.
thing leads you to a space where destiny awaits.
That's right. That was the catalyst for change. And that's a
It
chapter in my book,
Yeah.
Catalyst for Change. Yeah. Go
Yeah, so
ahead.
I'm saying this for those that are listening, but I'm really kind of saying it for myself because and we'll talk more
Yeah.
offline
Yeah.
about this, but
Mm-hmm.
uh it's
Yeah.
it's very apropos. So I'm glad that's what you led off with. I think
Okay.
I'm gonna selfishly say that I needed to hear that myself, but
Okay.
for those who were listening and who are
Uh,
watching the
mhm.
replay, just understand that the pieces of your life, even those that feel insignificant, those that feel unorthodox, those that feel
Mhm.
that are misaligned, or they feel like or look like they're misaligned to the trajectory of your life, all mean something.
That's right.
All right,
That's
I'll
right.
leave it
And
there.
there is a saying that I use. No experience is wasted once you are walking in obedience and alignment
Mhm. You
to
sound like my
purpose.
wife. My wife says something very similar. She says, God wastes nothing.
Mhm. No experience
So,
is wasted. And I believe that because that is what my life looks like for the last 10 years since that diagnosis, 2013 to now. And what I also recognize is that when you embrace that path, the journey becomes easier. As
yeah,
soon as I
true.
stop struggling with trying to understand the why
Hmm.
did this happen? Where did this come from? I had the whys. Why is this happening to me? And I stopped asking the why, then I was able to say, okay, what's next?
Hmm.
What's next? Because there's a saying, the end of one thing is the beginning of another. So I started focusing my attention on what is to come and how can I do differently in that space that will be presented to me. What have
Mm-hmm.
I learned from the past that would allow me to have a more meaningful impact, not only for others, but also for myself? What lessons have I learned? And once I began to embrace that journey, then the burden became lighter.
Hmm.
I remember, I'm going to share this. When I went to New York first time, there was this Jewish doctor, um, a vascular surgeon. And when he told me, well, we wouldn't do any surgery, you just need to monitor it every 6 months. Come in, see us. And then I say, well, what am I supposed to do? Can I exercise? Can I do this? Can I do that? And he looked at me and, tears were in my eyes. And he looked at me and he said, listen, let me tell you what to do. He said, go back, enjoy your life, just have fun. That's all you can do. And that jolted me into the reality that, oh my goodness, you have to live life in the present, Anne Marie. You just have to live life. There is no other thing that you can do. And live every day with the understanding that you can't predict what the next outcome will be.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's again, you
Yeah, that's good.
that you have a positive
Hmm.
concept and a thing that I commend you because it's I think we all need to resonate with the moment,
Hmm.
Yeah.
with people and all of us being able to understand that the moment is all we really have,
Mm-hmm.
and when we're able to maximize the moment,
Hmm.
we're not necessarily concerned about the next one because we're engaged in the moment, the present one. And so what you're expressing, what you've
Yeah.
shared,
Yeah.
is I think something that we can all receive and use, um, because tomorrow is not promised. There's no guarantees in tomorrow. All we have is today. And I think you model
Mm,
what that really looks like.
yeah.
And I follow this to say, it was that, have, like you said, you've always had this desire to want to share or serve people. Um, how did your military joining you're married with your husband? Is he still in the military now, or is that he's finished with
No,
that?
he
Are you
just retired. He just retired from the Air Force. Yeah.
Go ahead now. Go ahead now. I knew when you said Maryland, it had to be the Air Force. Oh, okay. Did he ever move? Did he ever so you've been married what, 11 years? No, 15 to now. It's about 9 years, right? You've been married about 9 years.
Oh no. 8, yeah, 8, 9, yeah. It would be 9
Okay.
next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So you're so Andrews, Bowling, which one? What Air
Um,
Force base?
no, I think it was, well, it would be Fort Meade. Yeah, Fort Meade.
Fort Meade. Oh, I ain't even gonna go there.
Mhm.
I am like,
Fort
I'm not
Fort
even I'm
Meade.
not
Yeah,
I'm
from
not even
from
gonna go
Fort.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out to Fort Meade.
yeah, I'm not even gonna go there.
Yeah.
So because that's
Yeah.
that's a whole nother story.
Shout
All
out to
right.
Fort Meade. Shout out to
Yeah.
Fort Meade. Shout out
But
to
Okay.
LinkedIn user in the comments. We can't see your name, so we have to call you LinkedIn user. But LinkedIn user said, "This is great. It's wonderful how you use your life and experience to give others hope." Anne Marie. Also, blessings from blessings from TNT. So whoever LinkedIn user is also in Trinidad. So
Trinidad, Tobago, yep,
shout out to
yep,
TNT in the comments. Also said, "That's it.
Yeah.
Enjoy the now. Having gratitude for being gifted with it." So thank you for your
yeah,
comments, LinkedIn user. Appreciate you for being a part of this.
Beautiful.
yeah. But
Oh,
how's the military experience been for you? Having been a spouse of a
my.
military.
Look, well, let me explain it this way. Remember, I said previously that no experience is wasted, right?
Hmm.
So, being a person who was single for a very long time, because when I was married, I was already 48 years old, right?
Okay.
So 48, 46, somewhere around there. I'm trying to remember. But the thing about it is that when we were married, and then within one week he was gone, and then there were other times when significant times when he wasn't around, but I think it was difficult for me to adjust to understanding that. But because I had the experience of being single before, that helped me to adjust pretty quickly. So, and then
Hmm.
of course there were was a supportive system of military spouses who were there, which I was very grateful for, helping me navigate, this new journey and being in a new space and a new place, a new territory, and all of that. But I think the experience overall was good. I appreciate the experience and what it brings with it, the opportunities. And again, God in His goodness, the opportunities and the open doors and all of that. And I mean, when God does stuff, He does it well.
It's amazing. I can resonate with it because it's a community. You once you
Mhm.
join the military, a spouse, and especially when
Yeah,
they're off TDY or wherever they're off to, the
yeah,
community is that the
that's
whole
right.
basis behind Clear Journey is to build a community modeled after my experience in the military, because it's that type of
Okay.
community that
Hmm.
I resonate with, and that is the ability to be able to find those people that know that we're part of something bigger than ourselves, and to
That's
be able
right.
to plug into it and know that your support is there. And it's
Hmm.
not only in the military, it's actually how we're to live our lives. And so when we know who we are, then we can hook into one another and be all can become more successful in our lives. So that's the model
Yeah.
that Clear Journey is
Yeah.
after, trying to really
It is.
support each other. Um,
I think you have some. I think you have some supporters in the green room with us. Patricia Henry said, "Amen,
Oh,
bless God." So, I think you have some supporters that are in the green room. And they're not in the main comments. They're
yeah.
in the green room with us. So, shout out to Patricia
Yeah.
Henry.
My
I just
peeps.
wanted to, because her comment won't show up on the screen. So I just wanted to share her
Okay.
comments. She said, "Amen,
Thanks.
bless
Hi,
God." So
Pat.
I think we got
wow.
we
Do
got
you
and we
know
got
Pat?
Cassandra Alexis
Oh,
in the
yes.
green room as well. So
Oh,
we got
yes.
You
People, my peeps, Trinidad and Tobago peeps.
Yeah, so let
Yeah, my
so if you guys can hear me in the green room, if you want your comments to show up on the actual broadcast, then you have to jump out of the green room and go to one of the LinkedIn pages or one of those pages. You feel free to stay back here if you want, but if you want your comments to show up, I can't make the private chat comments show up on the screen.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Good. I think I know. Okay. Okay. So anyway, by the way, so let's talk a little bit more about your ministry of national security and mentorship. Tell us a little bit about that.
okay. All right. So in Trinidad and Tobago, there was this period of time where the Ministry of National Security introduced a mentorship program. Now that program was designed to train adults who they felt were good candidates for mentor as mentors to navigate help young people who were at risk navigate difficult situations in their lives. So there was this period of training, and then they will pair you with a mentee, and then you will work with that mentee for a period of time. And then and the parents, of course, is whole family relationship until you felt that they were more or less at a place where they could navigate the rest of their journey on their own. So I was trained as a mentor. The training was life skills, and I became a mentor under the Ministry of National Security for a period of probably 2 or 3 years, until I migrated.
Yeah. And
Yeah, it
did
was a
so
very enriching experience. Yeah.
hmm and do you pull on that, or you draw anything from that experience that you put into your therapy that you use?
Oh yeah. One of the basic training we received under that mentorship program was life skills. And that I bring that into therapy with my clients, especially when I have worked with teenage clients, because those life skills is not just about learning to communicate and all of that. It's basic learning to navigate the difficulties of life, the transitions in life, the developmental stages in life. And I think every single individual experienced that time when you pause, when you're not certain what happens next. You know, the pause between, like, when you have a script or a movie scene, and there is this transition from one scene to another. Well, that is what
Hmm.
transition looks like. And if you don't have the tools, if you don't have the right timing, if you think about a movie's that script in the movie scene, it needs timing. Everything has to be in sync. And
Hmm.
generally, if individuals do not have that skill, then they find difficulties. And that is why we have so many people with mental illness, people who are suicidal. They do not have the skills, and they need people to help hold their hands to walk through those difficult places. So it's an integral part of my work with clients.
That's good. That's good.
Mhm.
Again, one of the things that I saw when I was reading through yours, I mean, you said you were a
Mhm.
Christian counselor and a therapist. How has
Mhm.
that been in any way? Has there been any type of contra or any conflict, so to
Conflict?
speak, there in that process for you?
Oh no. I will tell you what. If a client comes in and a client presents as faith-based, and this is real. Client can come in and say, I chose you because I saw that you offer Christian counseling. Or they will ask you pointedly, do you, we are Christians, do you offer Christian counseling? Then of course that is when you interject and say, of course, I'm available to do that. And that is one of the principles of therapy and working with clients. You offer them faith-based counseling if that is what they need, and you are a trained Christian counselor or faith-based counselor, you offer that. So there isn't any conflict of interest. If a client comes in and they don't believe in they don't have any particular faith belief, that's fine, because the tenets of therapy are across the board. And even if someone may not necessarily believe in the Christian values, they may believe in something else. So you meet them where they are, but it doesn't necessarily create conflict. So you have to know your client and work with what they need in that moment, in that space, in that time.
Okay. All right. That's good because I tell you, um, everything that I did when I wrote my book, it really stems from that religion from my part, but it came from a perspective of being
Hmm.
able to make something very universal so that it didn't matter whether or not you were faith based or not
And
faith
that's
based.
love.
That's love.
Hmm.
That's love.
Hmm.
And that
Yeah.
was the premise behind that. That was the premise behind that.
Hmm.
Um, so let me ask the question. In all that you've done and that you're doing now, what are some of the things that you say that stick out in some of your sessions that stand out as being some of the more practical, more the things that come up a lot in your practice or in your experiences?
Okay, so let me say communication, because I work with couples. All right. Conflict resolution.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
That is a big deal. Yeah.
can you
Go ahead.
give us a little bit of a tip as it relates to how you help people through communication or conflict resolution?
Okay. So with communication, I think one of the basic areas that I mentioned to couples from the onset or individuals is that we always communicate from the place of our emotions. So if I'm angry, my communication is going to come across as angry. If I have a host of conflicting emotions, I feel betrayed, I feel rejected, I feel abandoned, my communication is going to sound just like that. So it's more important to recognize what is happening with you internally. And that is what we call emotional intelligence. What is happening? Emotional intelligence create an awareness that is transferred into the way we communicate with each other. And it's not just about couples, it's generally in the workplace. We carry that with us. And remember also that the way we communicate and all those emotions, they attach to some experience from our past, including trauma in childhood. And you carry that. So whenever we communicate, that is what is expressed without saying it. So it's more important to, when you're communicating with someone or when someone is communicating with you, for you to listen from a place of curiosity, to understand the why. And when you do that, that creates more understanding rather than defensiveness. I can stop there. I could go more.
Mhm.
If you give me a
Hey,
chance, I'll go on
hey,
and on.
you sound so you and I are so in tune and so in sync. Because
Mm-hmm.
we talk about motivation, I talk about motivation, and what motivates you to want to communicate. I mean, as it relates to communication. So
Yeah.
it really dictates how you come off to each other is your motivation. And the thing about it is that it's very interesting because no matter how you come off, the other person
Mm-hmm.
has to have that same degree of motivation for the communication to occur. And
That's
so
right.
that's key that people realize that if there's no communication, if there's a breakdown in the communication,
Mm-hmm.
one or two parties are not on the same motivation, don't have the same motivation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. So the
that's great.
understanding is key. Yeah.
Hmm. Oliver, you have a question you want to say? You want to talk?
Well, I just been listening, and Anne Marie, you'll understand when we talk afterward.
Mm-hmm.
That there's an incredible amount of alignment between what you and I
Mm-hmm.
do. But I want to
Okay.
ask you this, just based on in the therapy side of
Mm-hmm.
what you do. Um, I just wanted to talk a little bit um, about Brown family therapy,
Mm,
and just and how that helps in terms of overall family dynamic, right? Because um, there are so many facets to the relationship space, right?
mm,
But when you're looking at families and the dynamic and the varied components that are a part of that space, just talk about the benefits of that modality, that framework, for individuals who may hear that and be like, yeah, that's what I need.
mhm. You know, our you said brown families,
Hmm.
and while there are some, there is
I mean, not
there
Brown.
are
I'm
some.
sorry, I said that wrong. Not Brown. Bowen.
Or
The
Bowen family
Yeah,
therapy,
yeah.
or Bowen family therapy,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
multi-generational family
I said that
therapy.
wrong. Yeah, just talk about the components of that and how that's helpful
Yeah. Hmm.
in overall family therapy, because
Yeah.
there are a lot of families that could benefit from having
Mm-hmm.
some understanding around the nuances and dynamics and
Hmm.
components of the familial structure
Yeah.
that they just don't understand. They're bumping heads. People are anxious. People are fussing. We don't know, why can't we get this together? The part of
Hmm.
that framework, I believe, is very
Hmm.
um, it's very beneficial to
Yeah.
solving
Yeah.
some of those problems.
Because yeah, and I love Bowen family multi-generational theory. So for those who don't understand, Bowen multi-generational family therapy, or Bowen multi-generational not theory but model, actually looks at how you understand the multi-generational patterns through families. And what it demonstrates is that if there isn't an intervention to change the cycle, the negative cycles, it continues into other generations. In a nutshell, that is what it is. So I think it's important for everyone to understand that, using that theory, to understand that there are patterns of cutoffs that can continue for generation unless it's if it's not addressed. One must also understand that there are also patterns of and cycles of, let's say for example, if there is alcoholism, substance use, those patterns can carry through to generations if no one addresses them, if no one understands the why, because it's not just that you carry emotional patterns also intergeneration intergenerations. And if it's not addressed, what happens is that it continues into and then not only continues, but it multiplies in terms of the frequency and how it's addressed or expressed in different generations. So it's important to create interventions, I think, to address that. And the intervention that is used is not just to say this is happening, it's education and communication and awareness that allows those cycles and those patterns to change. And also the importance of establishing boundaries across generations so that those patterns will not continue. For example, there are some people who will say, okay, um, I feel so guilty if I establish a boundary with a parent who may be an alcoholic or substance user. But what you are actually doing is creating a pattern for yourself that looks different so that you can stop the cycle. So boundaries are important so that you do not enable the dysfunction and create codependency. So I think the Bowen pattern is important to us as when we look at families, especially, well, let me say families generally, but let us look at our communities
Hmm. Hmm.
as Black
Yeah.
Americans. And there are some times when certain cultural preferences will say, okay, well, you can't say that to an
Hmm.
adult because that's your parent, or you can't do that. but then how does that impact your functioning and your ability to really change the cycle? So
Mhm.
sometimes you go against cultural barriers to create that separation and that difference. So the ability to have that type of psychoeducation is so important to help
Mhm.
people understand themselves and empower themselves for change to happen across generations.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because the reason why I asked that question
Mhm,
is
mhm,
because knowing what that modality entails, I was thinking about obviously it works for all families, but I was
mhm,
thinking
mhm,
about the African American households, and many of the African American households are there's all different African American households, right?
mhm,
So you have the African
mhm.
American households with Southern roots.
Yeah.
That's culturally that's a different dynamic. You
Mhm,
have the African Americans with Caribbean roots and the Caribbean families and the Southern families and the families out west and the Northern families. There's all this dynamic, and
mhm.
me being from a West Indian family, I'm going to use this as an example. There are so many things that are passed down in
Mhm,
a West Indian family. And listen, I can say this because I'm a West Indian family. So all those who are West Indian descent, put your stones down. Don't stone me on this. I can say this. There are so many things that are passed, and you talked about setting boundaries, and you talked about moving outside of the cultural dynamic to set up some of these things
mhm,
that are going to be beneficial. Often there
mhm,
are things that are passed down that are actually detrimental
mhm.
in terms of our intergenerational
Yeah.
cycles. There's
Mhm,
some things that we pass down. There's some things that my dad and it wasn't bad. They meant well.
mhm,
Let's be clear about that. It wasn't malicious. They meant well. They
mhm,
used what they knew to create what they could create.
mhm.
But what we did was internalize a lot of that, and then we wonder why 3, 4, 6 generations down the line, there are all of
Yeah,
these things that we can't really navigate, and we don't know why we can't navigate them. And so that's
that's
why I
right.
asked about
Yeah.
that because
Mhm.
that modality speaks
Yeah.
to that. And shout out to
Mhm.
Michelle Jefferson Lambert. We saw your comment. Listen from a place of curiosity. Shout out to Damon Cunningham in the comments as well. Said culture plays a huge part. It does
Mhm.
play a huge part as well. So and for
Yeah.
those of you who are watching or listening, I shout out everybody in the comments. LinkedIn user is actually Barry Tate. So shout out to
Yeah.
Barry Tate. Shout out to Barry Tate in the comments.
Okay, Barry.
Damon also said our parents used the tools they had. Yes, they
Yeah.
used the tools they
Yeah.
had. And the beauty of that modality is that it allows us to look at that with some level of respect and
Mhm.
and and honest admiration, but then be
Yeah.
able to realize, okay, here's how we need to shift and navigate differently so that those things do not tear our family dynamic apart. So
That's
good stuff.
right. That's right. And that is why you want a competent, culturally competent therapist to work with you. And that is why, a lot of African Americans from the diaspora, from whether it's from West Africa, whatever, they
Hmm.
seek out therapists who can understand their context. That is
Right.
so important. Yeah.
Hmm. Understand their context and be able to guide them, even if that
Yeah.
means guiding them around certain
Yeah.
barriers that have
That's
been
true.
put up as boundaries, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we put up boundaries and those boundaries are actually barriers.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to navigate that, I think, is important. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I love everything you said. Shout out to Barry in the comment. Great point. Sometimes we need to challenge some norms for us to get to a normal that actually works for us, especially in the African diaspora. Yep. And yes, this
Yeah.
is Barry from Trinidad. I figured
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
went to
Yeah.
LinkedIn, Barry, and I figured out that that was you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah, this is very interesting in that sense that that is very important that that is necessary to know your culture in this
Hmm.
process, because that's essential, to being able to move forward, is to go back and get to the why that you'll be
Yeah.
able to get it. And therein lies where your why stands. It comes from. And in many cases, we've become so familiar that it doesn't even, we don't even ask the question why. We don't even entertain the why. We just, it's just how
Mhm.
we act and how we operate. And that's all of us, and it's the ability to be able to do the work and ask the question why, and then know that it stems from, in many cases, it's a cultural thing.
Mhm.
No matter where we are,
Yeah.
that's just where we're familiar with.
Yeah. And some of us afraid of to use, a term from our culture, rock the boat. We don't want
Hmm.
to rock the boat. And then that place becomes so comfortable. And who likes to leave the comfort zone? Who wants
Yeah.
to swim against the tide sometimes and take that risk? So sometimes it's really difficult. And if people don't have the tools and you don't have someone to help you walk through that, then it's difficult to make that step in that direction.
Hmm.
So let me ask you one more question. I got a couple questions, but do you normally work with women, or are you more family oriented, but or are you just all inclusive as it relates to your perspective or your practice? How what
Okay,
do you
so I work
prefer?
with individuals, couples, and families.
Okay.
Um, and more women gravitate to me. Let me
Okay. All
put it
right.
like that.
Let's be clear then. Is Have you noticed that there's a difference between the sexes, so to speak, as it relates to the challenges that they might have, in their pursuit of answers to challenges in life?
Mm, I think I think I think there is no difference in terms of seeking answers. The difference is who seeks help. I think that's the difference. So you
Okay.
find women will more seek the help than men.
Hmm.
Men will sit in the corner or in a pub or somewhere or at a football game or something like that with their partners, with their buddies.
Hmm.
A
And,
woman,
and
a woman,
yeah, I mean, and the
go
thing
ahead.
about it is I think there's been such a, I guess, let me ask you the question: has there been any stigmas associated with therapy that you can recognize that we need to really overcome?
And that's you're asking that broadly or you're just asking that in reference to men.
Well, in general, but I think this speaks to
Okay.
men also.
hmm I think this one of the basic stigma is can it work? The next one is I don't need it. The next one is not for me. The next one is I can handle this on my own. The next one is I don't want to disclose my business to someone else.
Yep. Shout out to the West Indians in the house.
Yeah, and 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 for that, or for those, then what are some suggestions to being able to overcome those stereotypes or those stigmas?
You know what I realized? In a lot of cases, if someone have had a bad experience previously with confidentiality, it deters them from seeking counsel.
Hmm.
If they had an initial bad experience with a therapist or counselor, it deters them from seeking out someone. So I think what helps to create that balance for them is the therapist and the counselor also creating a safe space for that first experience to be so engaging and compassionate and caring that that person, that client can begin to trust and return for another session. I think that is where it starts. And there is nothing else that works so much more for therapy than knowing that you have a therapist who can empathize with you, who is compassionate and caring, and who can make you feel at ease from the time you enter into their space. that you
Yeah,
say, okay, I can do
That
this.
that's good.
that's great. Is that also the thing that gets you initially into the first therapy position or the first counseling or therapy session? Is understanding that you're looking for that safe space? Is that what you're looking for to get that initial inquiry to want to take that first step?
Oh, yeah. Because most therapists may have like a 15 minutes consultation call. Why do they have consultation call? Why would a client say they want a consultation call? They want to know, they want to hear the voice, they want to hear the tone. They may not necessarily see the face, but they want to know that there is a connection. And once they feel that there is connection, then they can talk to this person.
Okay, all right, that's great.
Mhm.
Michelle Jefferson Lambert said, "Powerful. The barriers you mentioned prevent those who need help from seeking help." Michelle also has a great question that
Mhm.
I'd love for you to address as
Mhm.
well, which is, what are some questions, or what are some questions, or looking for those seeking services? What are questions for those looking those seeking services can help? Hold on, I'm reading this crazy. Sorry, Michelle, I'm butchering your question. What are some questions,
Mhm.
or I'm assuming things to look for those that are
Hmm.
seeking
Mhm.
services? Questions that they can ask to help them find the provider that is most culturally relatable.
Hmm.
Mhm. Okay. So I would say the first thing is, thank you for that question, Michelle. I would say the first thing is, what type of therapy do you need? Do you have a preference for therapist? And preference here has to do with gender, and you'll be amazed. Clients have preferences with gender. Clients have preferences with age. Clients have preferences with modalities, what they use, what type of
Mhm.
therapy modality they use, whether it's EFT, we talk about Bowen multi-generational model, whether it's CBT. Those are some of the areas that clients can ask, but specifically with cultural, I think clients may not want to admit it sometimes, but clients look for someone. A lot of my African American clients, they want someone who is a black therapist. Then you want also someone who age, gender. A lot of men ask a male therapist. Some will say it doesn't matter. If you're doing couples therapy, a lot of men may have issues with a female therapist and they will ask for a male therapist to do couples therapist. All of those are areas that you need to consider when you talk about cultural relevance. And then there are those who will come into therapy, and then of course faith is a big part of it. They will ask, are you a believer? What do you believe in? All
Mhm.
right. They may ask another question. Clients may ask, how long have you been doing this?
Mhm.
All right. So you have to be willing, the therapists have to be willing to respond to those questions. If there is an aversion to being asked those questions, immediately you create a barrier for that client. So you must be willing to answer those questions, because sometimes those questions can be uncomfortable. It's almost like, okay, so you're questioning my ability to offer therapy. So I think it's okay for the client to ask those questions, because ultimately the aim is to help them achieve their goal. So yes, those are some of the questions when we're dealing with culture.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And you can
And I
ask question, do you have any experience in this? How long have you
hmm
been do you have an experience, for example, with postpartum depression?
right.
Some clients ask you, are you married? All of
hmm
Do you have children? And you must be comfortable to answer those questions.
hmm Yep, because
That's good.
at the end of the day, you want someone who is going to understand, who is going to have the right levels of the various components that are needed to take you through the therapeutic process.
Mhm.
And don't be don't be dismayed if the first or second person isn't that person.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
okay. There's a
Yeah.
whole lot of therapists out there, right?
Yep.
So
Mhm.
if you
That's right.
if you go to a restaurant and you didn't like the service or the food, right? Well, you don't stop eating.
Mhm.
You just find a
That's
restaurant
right.
you like.
Mm-hmm.
You go get a restaurant you nobody goes to a bad
Mhm.
restaurant. It's like I'm never eating again. No, 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 no. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go somewhere else, and we're gonna try this other
Mhm.
place that so and so told me about. Same thing with therapy as well, and asking those questions. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Damon's in the comments. He said, "I believe the first step is to ask yourself how willing are you as the client to open up to a therapist." The stigma, in
Mhm.
my opinion, in his opinion, starts with you. Then identify the help you need and ask, and then seek out assistance.
Yep.
Mhm.
Thank you
Yep.
for
So
that comment, Damon.
yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Anne Marie, what would you like to share with us? We're coming to an end. What would you like to share with the community? Just your last thoughts that you would like to give us as people who are trying to navigate this thing called life.
Mhm.
What would your advice be to the community?
To keep it in a nutshell, what I like to say is I want to go back to find out about your why. What is your why? Why am I here? Why do I need to change, or why do I need to shift, or why do I need to align myself differently? When you start with your why am I here? What can I do? What do I have to offer? Then you begin to see life from a perspective of not your limitations, but your capacity for change, your capacity to offer hope, your capacity to give from a place of not seeing the glass, half empty, because you can't pour from an empty cup. So think about what do you already have that can offer hope to someone, and always go back to your why. When you feel limited, when you feel exhausted, go back to your why, and that helps you through transitioning. Also, manage your expectations. Think about what you can control, what you can't control. Create realistic expectations for yourself so that you do not overextend yourself, and you do not put yourself in a position, or, as we say, set yourself up for failure. Although failure is okay, it's okay to fail, but have a healthy expectation of yourself and others, and that helps you to transition in those difficult spaces also. So there's a lot, that helps you through those transitioning. But I say let's start there. What you can control, your expectations, figure out your why, and embrace the change as you practice gratitude. That helps a lot.
Hey, those are well served words of advice. Thank you. Go ahead, Oliver.
This is from Barry. Anne-Marie, are you currently working remotely with clients or teams in the Caribbean? If not, are you open to doing so?
Okay, so it's in my to-do list. It's a projection that I have because I have people from back home who call and ask for help and say that they can't find a therapist. And there are some people who I've helped. And over the years, since I was doing counseling before I migrated here, I've been helping a lot of people. At that time, I used to do it pro bono. So it's on my mind to do something for my people back home. So that's something I'm working on. So I'm open. I'm open.
Excellent.
Well, on that note, how can people reach you? How can people reach out and reach you?
Okay, so I am on Instagram. You can look for my name, Anne Marie James Henry. I'm on Facebook. My Facebook page is private though, but I'm working on my website for my new practice, New Seasons Therapy and Wellness. And then for those who want to reach me, you can call me 240-374-6884.
Wow. Okay. And I will say this to anyone who needs you and can't find you. If you reach out to me, we can get you in
Yeah,
touch with Anne Marie.
yeah. And I'm also on
So
LinkedIn too. Yeah.
yeah, that will be no problem. She's very accessible, and I appreciate that about her so much. I appreciate you for being here tonight. We're going to stay in touch, and hopefully we can help each other grow as we
That's
venture
right.
into our new phases in life. And so, like I said, I really appreciate you being here. And now I
Thanks for
guess,
inviting me.
Yeah.
hey, yes, I've been looking for this for some time. So I'm glad we were able to make this happen, and we'll be able to stay in touch. But and that's so in that note, let's thank Anne Marie and let her go for tonight, and we'll close it up, and we'll be back in a minute. Go right ahead.
Indeed. So we're going to send you back, but don't leave. So we got a few words to share
Okay,
with you
Melissa. Thank you,
when
Oliver.
we're done. But thank you so much for being here and lending your expertise
Thank you so
to
much.
this evening's show. Appreciate it.
All right,
Bye.
thanks. All right, everybody. I want to thank everybody for being here. This was a outstanding episode here, and had thank you for your comments in the LinkedIn community for being here. Um, I think I know where we had the people that came into our green room and was unable to partake in the chat, but we will work on that. We're all growing here. I'm sorry that that was the link that you got, um, but we are thankful for you being here. Look forward to you coming back again. And if you want to know more about Clear Journey and what we do, because again, uh, Anne Marie's thing and what we do as far as a mindset, the attitude never needed to navigate this life is it really is what brought me to this point of creating and starting Clear Journey. So if you would go over to Clear Journey, we love to have you as a part of the community. We have some tools over there for you to help you navigate life. There's a free ebook having to do with budgeting, because we think that budgeting and your ability to be able to live and to manage your finances is crucial and critical as it relates to any way for you to be able to navigate life successfully. We'll be having more resources over there, but by all means, we want you to be a part of the community. Oliver, let people know who you really are and what it is that you have and how people can reach you.
Sure, indeed. If you're a social media person, the social media handle is right there, Denali LLC, everywhere on social media, YouTube, LinkedIn, everywhere. I am passionate about seeing relationships thrive. And as a speaker, author, and coach, that is what I eat, dream, sleep, live, breathe. To see you build and maintain the relationship of your dreams, both personally and professionally, helping married couples on one end of the spectrum and small corporate teams on the other, as well as a coach to men based on the book that I wrote, Overcoming the Man Laws for the Man Who Wants to Be His Best Despite What He Was Taught. So find me on social media. If you're an email person, you can also email me at the email that is on your screen right now. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Who does not want to have a healthy, thriving relationship, both personally and professionally? No one does not want to have that. So let's have a conversation.
Hey, and by all means, Oliver is one of our Clear Journeys strategic partners. So by all means, reach out to him, because that's what we're building here, is a community where you can come and find all of the resources that you need to be able to be successful in life. And so until next time, where you can come and find Oliver and myself again. And again, we appreciate you for being here. But like I said all the time, we can't change life, but we can surely help you navigate it a little bit better. So until next time, we'll see you then.
Later. Shout out to everybody in the comments as well. Appreciate you for
Yes.
being here tonight. We'll,
Thanks.
we'll see you next time.